This is a patriotic message from Super Action Man.
Not everybody can put Vladimir Putin in a headlock or deliver a sick leg drop to Kim Jong-un. There is something you can do to keep your democracy from turning into some third world hellhole like Syria, Burma, or Sweden. And that's vote. We all have a responsibility to do our part. So do your part. Tell them Super Action Man sent you. I'm Super Action Man, and I approve this message.
This has been a patriotic message from Super Action Man.
Hey Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape episode. I hope you enjoyed our PSA from Super Action Man. He said, Jonathan, this is a very important message. We got to get those kids out there to vote. And there you have it, Super Action Man. That is a exclusive PSA made just for you Geekscapists to remind you that November 3rd, let's get out there to vote unless you voted early. I know that my co-host Katie and I, we voted early in the California elections, but maybe some of y'all are living in like places like Georgia or Texas and having a tough time there voting. Do what you can. Get out there and vote. It's important, and that is our message. Geekscapists, we got a great Geekscape episode coming up for y'all today. My good friend Greg D'Alessandro, he's actually the publisher and editor. He's not the publisher. Jonathan, correct yourself. He is the editor-in-chief and CEO of Weekly World News. If y'all don't remember Weekly World News, here's a little refresher for you on Weekly World News. Do y'all remember, like when you were younger, going with your mom to like the grocery store and you know, maybe just being bored out of your mind, maybe she pulled you away from the spinner rack with all the comics and now you're sitting there in the checkout line and you couldn't help but check out this cover staring back at you. That's a bat child found in a cave. Do you all remember the Weekly World News? Well, the CEO and editor-in-chief of the Weekly World News is going to be joining us here in a bit to talk about a brand new Kickstarter to bring back the Weekly World News, I think in print too. So I know last week we talked a lot about the hurdles of the comic book industry and what it's going through as far as print publications go. How do you get shelf space? What's going to happen with comic book stores? And I think I want to talk to Greg about like what the strategy is and like what the full idea is on like bringing back the Weekly World News. And we'll have another topic about that because obviously we're in a pandemic right now and it's changing a lot of industries, from Regal Films in the Regal cinemas closing down theaters and saying, hey, we're out until 2021. A lot of the ways that us geeks consume our media, from movies to video games to streaming services, they canceled Glow. I couldn't believe it. Is all kind of changing and shifting. So we're going to have a pretty good conversation about that. So Greg's coming up on the show. I got to tell you that along with consuming stuff, I got on our Discord, and there are only a few Geekscapists on the Discord, only a few active Geekscapes on the Discord. If you're into Discord, let's get you on that Geekscape Discord, because I get on there and they like start a conversation, and then the few that are in there end up having the conversation, and then they start posting, well, it's crickets. They don't start a new conversation. They just criticize the fact that the conversation they started died out. And I go in there and I'm like, hey, Jonathan can't start everything, all right? I've been doing this Geekscape thing for 13 years. You know, you want new Geekscape t-shirts? Here's a new Geekscape t-shirt. Those finally came in the mail, and we'll be going out to those of you who ordered Geekscape shirts. Listen, I'm doing a lot right now. We're having a lot of fun making this free content for y'all. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, hey, this is as much your brand as it is mine. So come in here, mix stuff up, throw some stuff in the comments. Hi, Heidi. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm good. So Rick, though, has some questions already for Greg in the comments, but we'll get to them here in a little bit. I want to see how Katie's doing. And I also want to tell y'all that I saw, I think, the best movie that I watched this in 2020. I liked Enola Holmes, but I watched this movie on Netflix the other day. It is a movie I had to be in a specific mood for because I knew it was going to be like really dark and deal with a lot of pretty intense issues like religion and murder and family and things like that. But it's this movie with Tom Holland and it, The Devil All the Time. It's on Netflix. It's got Robert Pattinson in it. Bill Skarsgård, you might know him as like Pennywise in the recent It remake. I thought this movie was awesome. I thought everything about it was note perfect. If you're into like, it takes place in the 1950s, 1960s South, and like, you know, there's weird, like there's evangelical preachers, and it just kind of has that really sweaty 1950s, 1960s crime story, but also a little bit of incestuousness going on in it. I thought it was great. I thought it was an awesome movie. And as Jason Elliott says, I put that movie on my list to watch. Jason, you're an actor. I think this is a really, really awesome, well-acted movie, and the directing and writing I thought were awesome. And then you find out Jake Gyllenhaal produced it, and he did a damn good job, because however long it took this project to be made, it was great. Last night, Heidi and I went to this drive-in premiere for our friend Mark Webber's new movie, The Place of No Words. It's a movie he made with his kid. He made it with his wife, Teresa Palmer. Mark Webber, you might remember from Scott Pilgrim. He's one of his bandmates. People like Matt Kelly, who's all about Geekscape. He runs our Geekscape podcast network. He'll remember Mark Webber from Snow Day. But Mark's been a friend of the Geekscape for almost 10 years now, and he just made a new movie that comes out on VOD October 23rd, which is next Friday. So Mark's going to come on the show, hopefully, and talk to us about it. We've been chatting back and forth in the text about him coming on. He's willing to do it, and the movie is really good. I thought the movie was pretty awesome. The dude's a real artist. So those of you in the Discord saying Jonathan needs to review stuff more, those are two movies to keep your peepers peeped for, because I really enjoyed them. And I can get into like the X-Men X of Swords crossover event if you want me to, because I've been reading those X-Men books. But you know what? I think it's best if Katie gets in here and saves me from a full-on geek meltdown, which is also probably why you downloaded this show, to listen to that. Katie, save me from the...
You are rabbit trailing through all sorts of different topics. And
I am telling you, it is not unlike this X-Men X of Swords crossover event. It is 22 issues long, going through all the X-Men books, and they're making you buy all the X-Men books to be a part of it. All the story, like, it's like, dude, there are so many. They're like 8 X-Men titles right now. I don't want to get all of them just to get the story. I'm not into that.
That's why I'm a big proponent of just being patient and waiting until everything is all together, so I can. It's one of the things that I kind of miss about being able to binge content. The fact that like it's like releasing weekly in certain like. If I could just sit down and watch the entirety of Ted Lasso, I would be the happiest girl. But I had to wait each week for that.
Yeah, but you're just not patient enough.
I'm not patient enough. No, and so that's why I'm like, if I don't know about this, I won't go and try and consume it. And so I'm just like, okay, cat every time.
Well, I think Jonathan is spending the money to read the X-Men X of Swords, so you don't have to spend the money, because some of it is a little too. It's like, hey, did I really need to read this issue? No, it just set up something, and spoiler, it's just literally like 8 X-Men having to fight 8 baddies from like another dimension in like a contest of champions type situation. It's just contest of champions with the X-Men. That's it.
Yeah,
that's X of Swords.
X-Men I can't keep up with. There's too much going on with those guys.
Rick, though, he disagrees. He says, pull me back into comics. Let's get all 22 issues.
Okay.
Marvel loves you. Marvel is like, that's our guy right there. We're going to make him do
the penny folds.
I have a great series for you, Rick, though. It's called The Walking Dead, and sometimes you will buy an issue where all somebody does is walk across a field and talk about zombies taking over the world. Like, some of those issues got a little stretchy there.
I had to fall off of The Walking Dead because I was like, okay, I spent this money and this time, like, and this was like, I was waitressing, and then as soon as I got off work, I would go to my comic book store and I would pick up my comic books. And when it was just a Walking Dead issue, I was like, you know what? I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can use my tip money on that.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of filler after a while.
Yeah.
Which is not respectful to the reader. And I got to tell you, Ian Kerner and I definitely had a back and forth when Marvel solicited this big X-Men crossover, and they were like, it's 22 issues and it goes across all of our titles, and we're going to number them, so you have to get them all, so that you can't miss issue number 5, even though it's in the title. You don't read because you're going to miss Wolverine picking up a sword. And I'm like, I think I'm good. I think if he's not,
but he picks it up with his claws.
Yeah, he needs a sword though. And it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure that if Storm doesn't have a sword in one issue, and then in a later issues, like Storm has a sword, I'm guessing one of the issues I skipped was where Storm gets a sword. don't really need to know the politics of how she got it. Rick says, I started Walking Dead at issue 1 and quit around 170 or 180 something. Dude,
you're stronger than I.
I think I got to like the famous issue number 100 where they pop out, you know, what's his name's eye. And I was like, we good.
Yeah.
Jim Pogarelli wants to know,
show.
Katie, is that a King Ghidorah shirt or a House Targaryen shirt? And I'm like, is it an Adidas shirt?
It's almost all those things. It's a house shirt. Yes, it's Dracarys. It's an Adidas shirt. My sister sent me this on my birthday, and I love it.
That's
so
really
much.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like an Adidas shirt.
I saw someone asking if the Game of Thrones spinoffs were still happening, those two, and I think they had casting announcements on them, but I don't think they made much of a blip on the radar. I don't know.
Maybe it'll come up, but I have a feeling that that's going to be pocketed for a good while now, especially once everybody gets over that final couple episodes.
Katie, there's money to be had.
There is money to be had in it. There is money to be had in it.
You need to worship the merchandising gods more.
I'm so bad at that. You know what? And that's probably why I didn't get a lot of the gigs that I was up for lately. Because it was just like, meh.
Katie?
I know. I speak too honestly sometimes.
Who needs story when you can sell somebody 22 issues of a comic book and some T-shirts? All right? Enough. Who needs the story? All right. Well, I know that Super Action Man dropped in earlier and told you all to vote.
Wait, see what he was packing.
I got to tell you, he was packing some heat. So, you know, Captain America is America's ass. I think Jim Pogarelli said that Super Action Man is America's junk.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I would agree with that. But
yeah,
you know, one of the terms that we've been talking about a lot in this political climate is this whole idea of fake news. When they want to disenfranchise people, separate them from their reliable news sources, the one thing you do is discredit the media and start throwing out this term, fake news. So today we got to be talking about this fake news because we have a master of fake news on the show, and he loves the fake news. And you know what? We love the fake news because we love Weekly World News. And one day we looked up, and it was just gone.
Yeah, I actually was really curious about that.
One day it was gone, and now it's back. And you can help bring it back. And the man to tell us all about it is right here, my good friend, coming in from New Jersey, Greg D'Alessandro. You're on the show. What's up, Greg?
Hey,
how are you,
Jonathan,
man?
Katie, how you guys doing?
Good,
I'm
man.
good. You good to hear? You're gonna lay some fake news on our?
No, we don't do any fake news at all. We're the world's only reliable news. We do nothing but the truth, and it's just the truth and all the truth. Hey, I love the theme song, by the way. The theme song was rocking, and Super Action Man was great also.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
So yeah, good to know the hair is back in. You know.
Oh yes,
hair is back.
I don't know if it's in, but it's back.
It's back, yeah, in a big way.
He's got it on his back for sure.
Was that your first encounter with Super Action Man?
That is, yeah. And I'm now,
which is insane because Greg has had encounters with Bigfoot, Chupacabra,
Manigator, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hundreds of different beasts and creatures. Yeah.
Greg, right off the bat, and to give myself context for your history with Weekly World News, Rickto in the chat says, "How long have you been CEO and editor of the Weekly World News? What is your history with the brand?"
Okay, well, I started with the brand. The brand, started in 1979, and it went. I was in print up until 2007. Then it went out of print. But then in 2008, it was sold and started and just went online. And so I've been with it since about 2007, 2008, around there. I wrote many, many articles and came up with a lot of characters for them. And last year, the brand kind of went dormant in 2015, so there was nothing going on. But I had a writer in LA. I'm always pitching things, and people were, every time I would be in meetings, people would be like, "Oh, what else are you working on?" I would tell them about Weekly World News, and they would light up. People remember, if they remembered it, and they would go talk about how they would get it with their parents, and they laugh on a Sunday, or their grandmother, they went to the store and they brought it home and everyone laughed, or at school, they would do it for school reports and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, we have 300 characters, so there might be something here for Hollywood. And then I kept running into people who love the brand. So I got back with the investor group that owns it now, SpyCat LLC. And they put me in charge, CEO, editor-in-chief. And that was last August of 2019. We've been getting the website going and getting a lot of different projects together out in LA, working on podcasts, and now we're focusing online, and we want to go into print. So, but I've been a writer for Weekly World News for a long time, and so I became the editor. Yeah.
Were you the guy who, like, when they turned the lights off, like, you're like, hey, I'm still here? Like,
I'm the guy. Exactly. Yeah. No, I was there long after the lights were off. Yeah. In the back. Yeah. I'm in the back of the room screaming. And I mean, I'm still here.
We all remember Weekly World News from our times in middle school and high school and college. And I mean, I know I'm dating myself, but like when it closed down in 2007, at that point, the climate had kind of changed. We'd started to see things like The Onion and obviously publications on the internet starting to come up that, there was that shift to online that happened. And, at the same time, as a comic book fan, the spinner rack at the supermarket was no longer populated with comic books. So the supermarket wasn't really a place that you went to read tabloids or magazines. And a lot of this stuff went to mail order. A lot of this stuff went to online publications. Why was there not an aggressive shift in 2007 to go online and to kind of keep the light on that way, or at least keep things on a simmer?
Well, there was. That was the whole idea, is just to go fully online, and they did. They went online, and we had a whole lot of articles, postings there for a long time, till 2015. We just kind of ran out of money and time, so it's just kind of been dormant since then. So now we got it revved up again, and we want to get it fully going. So, but it went online, but now we're looking at going back to print too. So.
Rick, though, says that's a great backstory. He loves the brand. Nostalgia is big. And I got to tell you, I agree. When my buddy Steve Sabazlai, who wrote that theme song that you enjoy, when Steve pitched you, I said, I would love to talk to Greg about Weekly World News, because I do think that it's part of this cultural zeitgeist that being a geek, being a pop culture fan is a part of. We all remember Weekly World News, and we all love that brand. But I do want to talk to you about some of the challenges in bringing this back, because Geekscape the context is that there's a Kickstarter going on right now, and I want you all to go to Kickstarter. And what I want you to do is I want you to search for Bring Back Weekly World News. If you go to Kickstarter and you search Bring Back Weekly World News, you're going to see that they have a Kickstarter going on right now, and they're trying to raise $50,000 to hire 2 editors, some web guys, and then just somebody to keep going. A graphics person to really, I think, take this online thing to the next level. And I'm guessing, Greg, I don't want to speak for you, but let's add things like the TikToks and the Instagrams and ways to just really push the whole social media across multiple outlets. Because, when you see social media accounts that are, I'll tell you right now, I subscribe to one on Instagram called Kids Getting Hurt. When I see a kid fall off a bike and go into a rail, this is all shareable stuff that is very shareable. And in some of the outrageous stories on Weekly World News, I think is some of the most shareable content. And I think bringing it back and having that online presence is something that I think we can all kind of enjoy.
Right. Well, we have a website now that we've redone, and we're going to redesign again.
Sure.
So weeklyworldnews.com. We are on Facebook, and that we have 135,000 followers on Facebook.
Nice.
So we have a good audience there. We're on Instagram. We're just started on there, and Twitter. So, and we have something on Firework. I don't know if you've heard of Firework. It's like
one of them Chinese sites that are still on beta.
That's another one. It's like TikTok, but different.
But not banned yet.
Yeah, not banned yet. Yeah. Well, instead of scrolling up, you scroll this way. So
it's these kids with the fireworks.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Wait, I can't tell, because sometimes there's a mirror effect.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta go right. You gotta go like this. Yeah, Firework TV. So we have a good Lay
Why
some
would
down now.
why would I age myself?
Yeah.
Why would I age myself when Greg can
Dude,
just
I
mention
I know.
like
I just you
fireworks?
guys
I don't
know.
know
You guys
either.
gotta get with the times. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
We're too old.
Well, you're right. You're right. Like but on Instagram, people like video and pictures. So we want to get more video. We have to create short video. We have a reporter out in LA on the street. His name is Lester Kane, and he's done some interviews for us on the street. Kind of like Billy on the Block kind of thing. And so we want to get him going with a lot more of his on the street interviews, so we can put them up, short things on Instagram and Facebook. We want to build up our YouTube. We just started YouTube. We want to get that going. So there's I look at it as like there's two lanes we're going in, right? One lane is we're looking at TV, film, and podcast projects, and we got the podcast project working right now.
Okay.
And then we have online, social media and print over here. We'd like to get back to go back into print. Because the reason is that as I've been doing this for the last years, is that a lot of people seem to like print. When I go into meetings and I bring one of these, one of our old, papers here, you see, a lot.
Just that whole setup, it's very nostalgic to me.
Yeah, people like to hold it and touch it, and if I bring it to a meeting, I never get it back. People just want it. And people love holding it. So I know it's a challenge. It sounds a little crazy. It's not like we're going to forget about that there was an internet, Although maybe one day the internet will shut down and we're going to write about that. For now, we want to have a dual thing, sort of like you would have an MP3 of your songs, but also have an album release. You want to be back in print, shorter, maybe like 32 pages or 28 pages. Get it back on the racks. In the supermarkets back where it was a long time ago. So
now, if you need a female correspondent in LA, I know somebody who's really good. I'll wear a wig. No, I was talking about Katie. I'm talking about Katie. I'm talking about Katie.
Here we go. He's trying to get me a jab. No.
I was reading about Katie. Katie would be great.
I think about Katie all the time.
Who doesn't? I think about me all the time too. I'm a Leo. So
would you be good at, you'd be comfortable interviewing people like, alien headhunters or Bigfoot hooker, something like that? You're comfortable with that?
Absolutely. And if she can't interview him, then her Quado can, because I think she's got a Quado. I think she actually has a Siamese twin thing growing out of her stomach.
Hear up. That's why I'm.
Well, we do. We have a lot of three-legged people and three-armed people and some four-legged people that you'd be good to interview if you're comfortable.
Always. I'm accepting of all kinds of people, no matter what alien nation or creed.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie, you thought we were going to do an episode. You're
just setting up an interview?
Yeah. You know what? Listen, I don't like my friends striking out in LA. I don't like it. I know you didn't get that G4 thing, but listen.
Oh, that I wasn't even really up for that.
Listen, that G4 thing, let me tell you, G4 is going to get their lunch handed to them. All right? But not by us. But,
no, it's fine. It's totally fine. No, but I was gonna ask you, Greg. I was gonna ask you about where would you see this? I know for me, my nostalgic was just going into the grocery store and then my mom being like, "No, don't look at that. That's not real." And I, as I'm sure some of the audience already knows, I grew up very Christian, so anything that was a little bit weird, I was not allowed to look at or touch or watch or whatever. So I snuck in into the comedy realm, into the
right,
because it was just I'm not allowed to do this. But where else would you see those moments happening with the printed copy of the Weekly World News? Weekly World News. I keep putting it
World News, where do you think it should be? What
where do you see the next kid who's being told don't look at that and then sneaking it off and going into another aisle? Is that at the grocery store? Is that at the 7-Elevens, or where do you see those being sold?
Yeah, I think I'd like to say the coffee shops, right? Coffee shops and pharmacies, grocery stores. all those kind of places. I was talking to someone actually at the National Enquirer recently, and then they said that this year is actually one of their best years.
That's incredible.
And the reason is that during the pandemic, a lot of people aren't going to the airports or to the bus stations, right? Where you have the glossy magazines. They're not doing as well. But National Enquirer, because people are going to the grocery store and to pharmacies, is doing better, right?
That's true.
And when I look at the racks, there's a lot of kids go to the pharmacies or 7-Eleven and stuff like that. I would like to get in and all that, and it comes down to distribution. Like we can get it to be printed. We can get the graphics. We have plenty of articles. We have 100,000 articles and more coming every week, right? So we have plenty of material and stories to follow up on, but it's just distribution. So if anyone out there wants to help us with that too, we're trying to find that one little piece as the distribution, and then we can get it back in, and maybe start like monthly or quarterly, then monthly, and then go back to bi-weekly, which it was for a long time.
And that's the piece that I think is the one that has been hard, because these brick and mortar stores are really having it handed to them. And like I said, the supermarket print racks have all been kind of shrunk. And, to justify the printing and to justify the distribution in doing it at such a volume that you're saturating the market and saturating the 7-Elevens, but also the drugstores. I mean, I think we got to have a second pandemic just to get people into the drugstores to buy the Weekly World News. If we can engineer another virus.
Well,
if we can engineer,
there are bats listening to this podcast.
Katie, I don't want you talking because you almost swatted a mosquito like 2 episodes ago, and I told you that mosquito could have been carrying anything that could have told you it could have turned you into a supervillain or a superhero or given you the next outbreak. And we're going to need.
It bit me several times.
Are you saying, Jonathan, if we have this longer pandemic, a longer lockdown, this would be good for Weekly World News?
I want to remain sensitive to everybody. I want to be sensitive.
Yes.
Maybe we don't think. Maybe let's not engineer anything that's as lethal as the one that Katie did last time. But if we can do something that just gives people like a really annoying like whooping cough or something, then like they're gonna go to the. We don't want them to die, right? Like we're not gonna put you in the hospitals. We just want you to go to the pharmacy. And if you go to the pharmacy because you have this really annoying cough and it came up on your Tinder date, then that's what we want. But we want it to last like 10 years.
Right. Exactly.
And then I think we can get. Stop it, Katie. I'm strategizing.
And this is how we're going to save the world, basically, because we're going to have Weekly World News available, and people are so tense these days. Everything that's going on, and Weekly World News, by being the truth, the real truth, it allows people to relax and have a good time, and see the lighter side of the news. Here's another thread that we could follow is that if the Geekscapists ignore Super Action Man, don't vote, and Trump gets 4 more years in office, people can slide right. They can actually graduate from QAnon right into Weekly World News, and when everybody loses their jobs, they can sleep under the magazine one day, and we're so we're going to need either way. We're going to need the Weekly World News. I think that this investment is actually a smart investment because it is not bad to sleep under this.
Whether it's housing, it could be housing, it could be material, whatever you want.
Right.
I think this works. In all seriousness, what is the? I mean, we did talk. You did mention the idea of bringing it back quarterly and growing back that reach and that overhead that I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, your CEO, this is a tough one to crack because we just talked to an independent comic book publisher last week, an independent creator. We talk to publishers, we talk to people all the time getting into print or trying print, and it started to look pretty bad. So do you really think, and I'm asking you this honestly, because I think that it's important that, I mean, these old school tried and true methods of being on the spinner rack or on the checkout lane, is that still real estate that exists? I mean, do people still bring their kids with them to the supermarket? How did the Enquirer have its biggest year to date? Is it replicable for
Right.
Weekly World News? And then is it sustainable past a year where people aren't going to the pharmacy and to the doctor because Katie won't bioengineer a second virus?
You know, these are all great questions, and things that we're examining ourselves. I mean, I'm just going by what feedback we keep getting,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people seem to want to hold it and have it in print. They like it online, and we're going to build up the website. We're going to make them happy online, but people, there's a lot of people, and not old timers, you know, people between 25 and 40, you know, that want to want to hold there's something they like about it. Now, like I said, we're not going to get rid of online or social media and everything. It's just like parallel. Sure. And I think the challenge that as we look into this is the distribution, right?
Sure.
And because we have to make enough of these that is cost effective, and we have to get it into these stores, and maybe we have to find new kinds of stores that it'll be into, you know. But I do think that the kids, when they see it, they do pick it up, and they see it, they laugh, and they like the stories, and it's something different, alternate than the ones that are there. I still see them there, right? You see the Inquirer, the Globe, these color ones, but if you see the black and white, we're always black and white, Weekly World News right there, maybe it'll work. You know, it's worth, since the fans keep asking us, I think it's worth a shot of experimenting and trying this, you know. And I feel strongly about it, you know.
I agree with you.
It would sell harder in comic book stores because that is such a niche thing that, like, it's so fun. Like, the nostalgia is very strong when you see that kind of a copy. That, or like a compendium where it has like several issues kind of laced together, where you can do like something. I don't know. It just seems like this would be prime real estate, at least in sort of like the geek realm, or like in
Well, we are in part of our Kickstarter. We are putting together a little issue of greatest covers, greatest stories. And we also have a book that's like it is a compendium, a bunch of stories.
And Matt Kelly, who runs our podcast network, Greg, has he has multiple issues of those cover albums. And I don't know, Geekscape, I don't know if you listen to Horror Movie Night. That's one of our horror shows here on the Geekscape network. But Matt Kelly, the host, has a ton of these Weekly World News books. I talked to him today.
Really?
It's his birthday, so happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you for running the Geekscape network. But his brother Brian, who also hosts Horror Movie Night with him, actually has a Bat Child tattoo. So they are huge fans of Weekly World News. Yeah. And I agree with Katie. I think that the idea of a comic store, although comic stores are also having difficulty here during the pandemic because of the shrinking of publications. Even DC has admitted that they're slowly going the way of trade paperbacks, and they're owned by a massive corporation. Right. You know, the digital thing is good, but digital is a tough physical sell, and then print is going to have its own issues. I do like the idea that these are going to be vinyl albums. So, you know, the vinyls are never going to go away. I myself collect comic books in print. I just like holding them, like you said. I'm a hardcore fan, but there's a version. But I also have a storage unit simply for comic books, which is tough to continue to justify. There are pieces. There is a strategy here, but Geekscape is the first thing we got to do is bring back the Weekly World News. And to do that, you've got to go to this Kickstarter and search for Bring Back Weekly World News. And I don't just mean to be pitching it, because I think this is a problem that's doable. I think there are solutions here. But with the and we're open to suggestions from your audience, you guys. I mean, we really want. It's going to take a little army for us to bring this back fully, and we want to bring it back. And we want to bring it back better than it was before. So it's insane that like a movie like Men in Black comes out,
right?
And and there's not a Weekly World News version of that. I think that new Weekly World News could be a brand that has narrative and also has daily show like correspondence,
right?
And so I don't know. I mean, you've got the secrets and you've got the playbook, but there are strategies here where it could lend itself to narrative fiction. It can also lend itself to really fun correspondence, like those stuff that you're pursuing right now. Because the success of the Daily Show type stuff that you've just seen proliferate is just huge. Everybody's doing, like you said, man on the street. I think that's awesome. But man on the street, where we're going to talk to a 3-legged cow and stuff, a 5-legged cow. Sorry, a 3-legged cow is just a cow where the farmer got a little hungry.
Right. Well, I mean, the Daily Show, by the way, and the Onion, they were both inspired by the Weekly World News.
Of course,
they're all inspired.
It's time to get the crown back.
Yeah, we want to get it back, bring it back. And there was a TV show, by the way, in 1996, Weekly World News, short-lived on USA Network.
It's too early.
Too early. The Onion, we want to differentiate ourselves from them. As you said, we have narratives. We like Bat Boy. There's been 475 stories written about Bat Boy so far. Manigator, PhD Ape, P-Lod. I don't know if you know P-Lod, the alien.
That's the alien, yeah.
Who shook hands with all the presidents. Oh, you do? Oh.
Well, P-Lod studied me and then was like, you know what, Earth's not for us.
Right.
I saved the Earth by being so completely disappointing to alien life that they left alone.
We have a lot of alien stuff. There's an alien invasion going on right now. I don't know if you guys know. They've been here for a while. We got the Gutons and the Zevans. They're from 2 different planets, and they're both here.
Oh, that's nice.
Explains a lot. The Gutons, they're kind of, it's not clear exactly in that, but they seem to be bad aliens that want to hurt us, And the Zevans came here to help us become better beings, and to fight the Gutons. But then it's a little jumbled up, though, because sometimes
you gotta vote.
You gotta vote. This is another.
You gotta vote.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a partisan issue. This is how it's.
Are you pro Zeman or are you pro Guton?
Well, I feel like I'm pro Zeman, but then I find out stuff about the Zeman as our reporters go out there, and there's always something underneath. There's you don't know the full truth. That's why we're here. That's why we have our investigative journalists going out all the time.
Yeah.
And Katie, I was going to tell you too. We do a lot of biblical prophecy. Maybe this is why your family didn't like it. We had found the original Garden of Eden, which was in Wyoming.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, and they found the original apple, and it had a bite out of it still. It was preserved.
But it was preserved perfectly.
Yeah, it was still there.
So it was in fact just a straight up apple, because it
was an apple. What kind of apple?
Fruit. We weren't sure if it was an apricot or
Johnny Gold or
a Fuji
apple.
Fuji. Wow.
They're still doing DNA tests on it.
Okay.
Whatever. We'll see, but found Jesus sandals and Moses. Moses actually had a GPS, but he still got lost for 40 years. And we had, there's all sorts of biblical prophecies under conspiracy theories and aliens.
And I think it is as credible, if not more so, than the actual Bible. So there you go, Geekscape. I just lost my religious followers. You
just lost that audience.
If they've been listening to me for 13 years, they're already a member of a cult. There's no room for anybody else. Well, let's take a look at your Kickstarter, because I think the Geekscapists, like I said, would be interested in some of this stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I think, again, like I said, I think there's room in the geek zeitgeist, but as it becomes more crowded, and as the landscape becomes more crowded, and as we continue to stratify, it used to be like, hey, I was just into Japanese media, and then you'd be in anime or manga, and then you go to anime and manga. There's different kind of animes and mangas, and then everything's just stratifying so rapidly that it's like, okay, where do you fit in, and where is that niche? And I know that there are Geekscapists out there who are part of the Weekly World News target audience and niche.
Right.
We just got to keep preaching to them, and there will.
Look at that.
So there you go, Geekscapists. We're at 34,000 on a 50,000 goal as far as the Geekscape recording goes. And we've got 8 days left. So Geekscapists, I need you to chuck this football up the field. That's a sports metaphor on a Geeks show. Sorry about that. Right. But I need you to take a look at this thing on Kickstarter and start looking at some of these rewards. Because there are all sorts of rewards. What kind of rewards do you think are most popular? You get pretty much a Weekly World News guitar pick with one of the backings above $30, correct?
Yeah, we have guitar picks. We have cover posters of some of the issues. We have this Weekly World News cover.
Oh my God! Hold
cover.
on, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg, you're getting a little choppy there on the audio. Let's get
Oh,
you back. I think that was either the
I'll be back.
Xenons or the Klingons.
Yeah, somebody,
in.
it could be
Someone.
Pilad. I don't know. The government is always trying to suppress us, so it could be. That's why I don't really give away where I am exactly.
Yeah,
So the rewards over here are, you can always just chuck them $1 and get a thank you. $5 will get you a pretty funny Zoom background.
Oh yeah, there's a Bat Boy Bigfoot poster, because Bat Boy is running for president this year.
Oh, that's great. That's good to know.
Bat Boy Bigfoot, yeah. We got stickers, we got shirts,
Okay.
There's a Bat Boy mask that you're going to need for the next 7 years after Kate creates another pandemic.
Yes, there's going to be a Bat Boy mask you can wear while you go to pick up your Weekly World News in the grocery store.
And you'll especially love to have the Bat Boy mask because it will be another, mass virus from a bat. So at least when the bat sees the virus sees you, it'll know, okay, we don't go here. Kind of like the blood on the door with the lamb. Yeah.
Bat Boy was very upset about this whole bat suit thing,
Mm-hmm.
And he disavowed any knowledge of that or anything to do with that. He just thought it was very upsetting to him. He was screaming for days.
I thought it was a pangolin. Is there a pangolin boy that might make an entrance here in the Weekly World News?
That could be.
You know what?
We got to look into that.
There's one thing about Bat Boy. I was very excited that Bat Boy is running for president. I just wanted to know where he stood on the whole passing of the Supreme Court justice through Amy Coney Barrett. I just want to know what Bat Boy thought about that.
Well, I don't know if you saw that yesterday about Amy Coney Barrett. She held up a piece of paper with Bat Boy's picture on it.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so she's actually a fan of Bat Boy, but Bat Boy, he doesn't get involved on either side. He's really straight down the middle, but he probably would not be supporting.
A true moderate.
Amy. Yeah, exactly.
I think those are the only notes she took during her hearing yesterday.
Yeah. He's just he's a mutant, and he feels that he wants to appeal to the mutant in everyone.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because we're all mutants in one way or another.
Got it.
Yeah. I think that one of these rewards that you'll like is this one. $20 or more, you get one of those greatest covers publications. That I think would be awesome because for $20 you can put that thing on your coffee table, right, Greg? And then you look like. I mean, that's to me that is the equivalent of having a cool vinyl collection. People come over. When the pandemic is over in 7 years after Katie's created another pandemic.
Yeah.
People come over, they see the book of covers, and that is like an instant litmus test of whether or not the people you invited over are cool or not.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good test to see if they remember it at all. And then if they don't remember it all, if they pick it up and then it doesn't bring a smile to their face, that might be an issue.
Feed them the old stuff in the back of the fridge is what you do.
Yeah.
For $30 or more, you can get yourself a T-shirt, a hat. Again, it's all branded. And then as you keep going, you get yourself multiple shirts or more things. You can actually get your face in one of the publications. You can actually have your face or your name in the Weekly World News.
Yeah, you can get one of our covers with instead of the other person in the cover. Let's say George Bush. Instead of George Bush and Pilad, it's you and Pilad, or you and PhD. So you can get a cover. Well, it wouldn't be one of those, but one with if you have Bill Clinton and Pilad, or Bill Clinton and PhD, substitute your face for that. Or
I'm a big fan of Bigfoot Hooker. That is
Bigfoot Hooker is very good character. There she is. I mean,
she has
a book.
Glorious.
Yeah, she has a book coming out called "The Happy Hooker Does DC," and she's going to the hairy hooker. Sorry about that. Huh? But
the hairy.
Yeah, the hairy. So she has a lot of secrets about some DC politicians that are come out.
Hey, hopefully she does not end up like Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
No. So let's make sure that she stays alive with taken into protective custody.
She started in Montana, but then she heard that she can make the most money down in DC. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's where the demand was much greater.
Yeah, you know, gotta go where the job is.
Yeah, you gotta go where the work is, you know.
Yeah.
So, but now
Vacation
she's persona non grata. You know, everyone's trying to stay away from her because of what she's about to reveal. You know?
Man, I really hope she goes on Michelle Obama's podcast and just gets interviewed.
I think she should. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe we can get her on your podcast. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would
Got
get
it.
Bigfoot Hooker on this podcast any day of the week. How tall are you, Katie?
See, this is why, like, I don't want to keep having this nickname. I would like the actual Bigfoot Hooker. I am 6 foot tall.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm 7
we got
foot tall, so
we got
wow.
medium foot hooker.
yeah.
Don't let anybody call you medium foot hooker at all, Katie.
No. Bigfoot or nothing.
It's Bigfoot or nothing.
Yeah. And we got Lake Erie Monster. A lot of people like Lake Erie Monster. Loch Ness Monster's
Cousin.
cousin. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Greg, the other thing is when you create this, it does look like you're doing this transmedia multi-tiered strategy of bringing back the Weekly World News. But again, focusing on a niche, focusing on an audience, and really delivering to them the things that they want. What are some of the tiers that you saw were the most aggressively received on the Kickstarter? Like, were people really receptive to the masks or the posters or the books? Like, what was the most successful stuff to go out?
The one
that is a clue.
Yeah, the one right now, people do love the covers, the greatest covers issues that we're putting together.
For $20, it's a great deal.
People love that, and people do love posters that we're just making available of 4 of the covers. People like that too, like the Baby Parks Lake Michigan, which is a very popular one. So we have offering that as a poster. Anything with the covers, on it. And Bat Boy T-shirts are popular. I might not because I keep giving them away, but I mean, a big Bat Boy T-shirt.
You gotta stop giving away all your swag.
I know, I give away my stuff, But Bat Boy T-shirts popular. We also have a stand-up show with Tammy Pescatelli, this stand-up comic. You know her?
Great,
She's writing for us now.
Oh,
And
very cool.
yeah, she's one of our. She has a column called News from Abroad. She would be writing, and so she's been writing for us, and so she's going to do a Zoom show for us, and so that's getting some people. And this book right here has been getting a lot of people interested in this. It's got a lot of great articles in here. And we also had columnists that were popular. Ed Anger, I don't know if you remember Ed Anger, Dear Dottie. So Ed Anger was a very far right-wing commentator.
Mm-hmm.
This was pre Glenn Beck or Bill
Or
Roth.
who's the
Then Alex Jones became
Alex Jones.
More
We
of
used to
became
crank
a real
call
Ed
him.
Anger.
We used to crank call Alex Jones in high school.
You did?
As lizard people, because I grew up in Austin, and he was just on Austin Access TV back then. So we would call him up as he talked about lizard people back then, and be like, talk to him a bit, and then start talking in lizard, which is something that takes a while. You got to train. You got to work on your linguistics. But
and
Rosetta Stone is really hard to get. Yeah.
Right. And he's also into a lot of these vitamins or some other kind of things that you take supplements, right? Or I don't know what he's talking about. But we have had health cures too. But
the one thing that I think might be a challenge, Greg, is that y'all were around for a long time, and then everything just kind of became too real.
Right. A lot of people do say.
And like you said, there became an Alex Jones, there became a QAnon, there became all these things. It wasn't just being inspiring stuff like The Daily Show or The Onion. Y'all actually were precursors to a lot of the insanity that we see online that people on Facebook that you went to high school with actually believe.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
not to discredit Bat Kid.
Well, we have found over the years that there's a certain percentage, and I would say it's close to maybe 20%, that believe every story. And again, even though everything is 100% true,
Of course.
there's like 20% that, some things strain credulity a little bit. So, but there's 20% that believe everything, no matter what.
Sure.
So,
really?
Which is very, when you talk about Manigator, the half, and there's a lot of manigators. They were making them. A geneticist was making them down in Louisiana in this shed near a swamp.
Katie, you
There's a
gotta
lot
take
of
notes. That's how you're gonna get that next virus.
I mean,
exactly.
It's true. I get my pen out.
No, it's good enough in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going for bats, but alligator can work too.
But there are people that have seen, manigator, as they have seen the Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Bat Boy. So
I like the idea,
and ghosts all over,
I like the idea of bringing this thing back and putting it back in our faces in a print form. I do. I think that there are a lot of hurdles and that the landscape has changed aggressively in the last 13 years and will continue to change. But I don't think it's an insurmountable hurdle. Geekscapists, you got to do your part. You got to go to Kickstarter and you got to at least get them teed up for this print return, and that means you got to go to Kickstarter. You got to look for the bring back Weekly World News. There's no it's bring back Weekly World News.
Right.
But I like the idea of a Men in Black style organization that is the Weekly World. I'm just pitching you the narrative, the fictional narrative. It's a Weekly World News type news source, and their job, like the Men in Black, is to protect America from the actual truth. And they've got, they got Bigfoot and Bat Kid and Bat Child and all this stuff working for them, and they got to go out and make sure that the people that these anomalies that we see as anomalies, they're people too. They're getting persecuted, and they got to protect them and bring them in. Right. These manigators and womenigators, these childrenigators, that they are brought in and not shot by somebody out in the swamps of Florida, but they're protected. And if the world knew the truth, then they would be too much for them.
We have
that's my pitch.
I like that pitch a lot.
Okay.
We have a connection with Men in Black.
Let's take a look.
Because in the Weekly World News was in Men in Black.
I remember.
And then we had a special issue in the last Men in Black suits are hiding in plain sight. They actually are reading Weekly World News in several scenes in the movie.
I remember.
Yeah. So there's a connection with. We've been in a lot of different things. David Byrne's movie True Stories was based on Weekly World News. We've been in 12 months.
Jim Puccarelli asked, are the rumors about Bigfoot Hooker and Senator Ted Cruz true? They are not. That is Matt Gaetz, who was involved with Bigfoot Hooker, not Ted Cruz. But I can understand, Jim, how the lack of a spine in both of those human beings is confusing.
Right. I mean, I could see why he would picture them. They'd make a nice, match, nice couple. But it was not. There's a lot of bad rumors going on about
Ted Cruz's sexuality is simply online. It's not. It's not actually in person.
Right.
Matt Gaetz is like, hey, this is Bigfoot Hooker. I adopted Bigfoot Hooker as my ward. It's not weird, is it? That was Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
So, Jim, you're close.
So, the way we look at it is like, so we had news. We started in 1979. It was kind of like recording on bizarre stories from around the world, right? Sure. And then kind of expanded from there. And then we had the news, regular news, and now we have fake news. There's all this fake news out. But now it's coming all the way back to Weekly World News, which is the world's only reliable news, because we're the truth. So we've gone through all this mess of news and fake news. Now we're coming back to Weekly World News, where you can rely. Right? It seems like I agree wholeheartedly.
I am curious, though. I mean, there is quite a bit of skepticism towards printed media, towards just news in general. Right. I wonder where you stand, like when people are crying, like, where are my sources? Where are the credibility? And
it's all corporate owned. You can't believe them. It has too much corporate interest. The MSM.
Right. That's why we are not controlled by any corporation, big corporation. That's why one of the reasons why we're going through Kickstarter. We want this to be ground up people.
Retain your journalistic integrity.
Our integrity's got to be rock solid. We go through our sources. We fact check 2, 3, 4 different reporters go over each article, make sure that everything is straight and we got all the facts right.
Sure.
We try not to let the truth get in the way of our story, meaning the truth that other people think. You know, there's so much going on in the world, as you guys know, that is below the surface that we don't know about.
Absolutely.
Right? There's like this parallel universe almost going on, right? Another world, and we're trying to dip into and find out what the real truth is out there.
The parallel universe is singular or it's plural? It's parallel universes.
Yes, yeah, you're right. It is plural. Yeah.
And can we get Katie abducted as a correspondent for Geekscape or Weekly World News? Just get her abducted by like an alien or something. You don't gotta get probed, but like maybe if they screen graphed some like scales on you or like a thorax maybe.
I mean, have you been abducted yet? Do you remember it at all?
I mean, I put myself out there in college, but I never got any action. You know,
Katie, you gotta get yourself abducted.
Well, we have a lot of Zebans and Gutens both watching and listening to us, so you might be. I mean, I'm just letting you guys know you might be.
What did you put on your dating profile that you didn't get a Zeben?
Well, I got a lot of Grouton hits, and I was just like, you know what, I feel like the Zemans are really what I would probably be interested in for the inductions. You know, I'm really more of a Zeman type person, but you know, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. I'm over 30 now, so like if I'm gonna get abducted, it's got to be from someone good, you know. Like,
I'm waiting for my Mr. Zeben, right? I'm waiting for that.
There was a couple recently that was abducted, and the Zebans, instead of probing them or anything, they actually threw them a wedding. So it was beautiful. Yeah, they had a nice little wedding for them.
That's great.
On a spaceship, and then they brought them back. So it's not always bad.
That's not bad.
People always think the aliens, they get nervous and scared, but there are some good aliens out there.
I have a feeling it would be fun to just like learn about another culture as long as they were up for it too. You know,
go to Mexico.
Go to Mexico.
Go
to Mexico, Katie.
Yeah.
I lived in Kazakhstan.
That's where my mom came from. I remember when I was a kid. In all honesty, I remember when I was like 6 years old, and I found my mom's legal alien card because she wasn't a citizen yet.
Oh,
and it blew my mind because I was an idiot. But I was also 5, and suddenly I see my mom's ID, and in big bold letters it says "legal alien," and I was like,
"Whoa,
what?" And I was all popped up on ET and all that garbage stuff that came. ET's not garbage, but all that stuff that came out then, and I was like, "Oh, my mom is an alien." Like that is probably a movie that Matt Kelly watched way too many times as a kid. My mom is an alien, or something. There's got to be a movie called "My Mom is an Alien." If not, trademark it, Greg. We'll make
yeah. That title.
I mean, did you ever ask your mom about the alien?
Yeah, she said, "You're an idiot. I'm from Mexico. It's a legal ID." I think she said, like, idiota, tú eres un what?
As far as we know, I mean,
I mean, some aliens might say that too, though.
You know what?
I am say that.
I'm suspicious that she's.
Did she hold up a chancla, or did she hold up something else?
It was a chancla. Yeah, it was a ray gun.
Okay. I mean, you never know. Like, I mean, sometimes, flip-flops, they look like ray guns, vice versa.
Again, the chancla does have precision targeting built in. It's of a technology that may not be of this earth. This requires more investigation, Katie. I think you're the one for the job.
I mean, Katie's a natural for an
as Ricto said, that's a fine cover story.
Indeed.
And I think
it is.
I think we're the ones to investigate it, not ICE. My mom is an alien.
Your mom is an alien. Yeah,
and we're just going to skirt the possibly racist tones of that story. But
No. Yeah.
The point is, Katie,
be very careful.
Katie, go to Mexico.
Okay. Well, I've been several times, and I love.
Go back, and then come.
I mean,
you know what? November 3rd, we're gonna know it by November 3rd.
Yeah.
If we need to be moving to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's they ain't gonna listen to Canada.
You know what you can do? We have a lot of time travelers that we talk to too. So maybe you can go to Mexico about 200 years ago or something if you'd like.
Ooh.
Wow. Do that. They would love you. They're gonna love you in Mexico 200 years ago.
Is gonna really get abducted then.
Yeah. With your new T-shirt, I mean, you'd be great.
Do that. I'd love for you to zap her into the future, but then you realize there's an abrupt end to it in about 3 months. So too real, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know.
Too real.
We'll just keep going on this timeline. But
I know it is.
I think we'd all like to jump into the future right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen
I'd
to
say so.
Super Action Man and vote, Geekscapists. Listen to Super Action Man and vote. Greg, it's been awesome having you on the show, dude.
Oh, been great talking to you guys, man. It's been a lot of fun.
We want the Geekscape Weekly World News synergy and collaboration to continue. Would that be cool?
Absolutely, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it'd be
I
great.
love it.
Got a lot
It'd be fun to work
about.
with you guys. We
Yeah,
have
it'd
a
be
lot to
of
talk
fun.
about.
Yeah.
And I think that the audience would love it. And I think that, again, I'll repeat it. I'll be a broken record, but this is part of our cultural fabric is the Weekly World News. And, it's like Spider-Man and Marvel Comics and DC and Batman and rock and roll and the Ramones and all that stuff. Like when you mix that stuff up, that is the pop culture. And Geekscape is nothing if not a celebration of pop culture. Geekscape is good.
So now we have a merger of Geekscape and Weekly World News. We're coming together, synergy. So we're gonna work together. Yeah.
By the way, I just
love
want you to know that Jonathan, you were breaking up a little bit, so I think Incelbot is going to be hot on the trail of this because Incelbot may not be so happy of this.
Oh.
So we've got a robot that's mainly mad that I'm a co-host because I'm female and competent, but that is just Incelbot. So I'm just letting you know right now, Jonathan, that it seems like he's hacking into you a little bit.
Geekscape is. I cannot wait for Katie's fabricated pandemic to be over so we can go back to doing the show in person, and that the robot AI that's taken over my computer and destroyed my broadcasting ability will be a moot point, and we can get back to old school Geekscape in person. Hopefully on stage, Katie, because remember we talked about doing on stage Geekscape.
Oh, yeah.
That is all a dream, Geekscapists, but we love you. And again, go to Kickstarter and bring back Weekly World News. And you can probably follow Weekly World News, as Greg said, on the Instagram, on the Twitter. Search for them on Facebook. Social media, you can be a part of that. And of course, we got Geekscape over here for you. We got Geekscape on all of the social medias. We're at geekscape.net posting some of the episodes. And if you want to subscribe to any of the podcasts for Matt Kelly's birthday, search for Geekscape on any of your podcatchers. And it's not just this show. There are many Geekscape shows across the Geekscape network. Matt hosts Horror Movie Night. We're doing a live stream for Halloween to raise money on October 30th. That'll be on the YouTube channel that you're watching right now if you're watching the live stream on YouTube. And we're going to be raising money watching Schlock. I'm going to drop in for about an hour and a half of it and hang out with the Horror Movie Night people. But it's going to be a fundraiser. It'll be a lot of fun to celebrate Halloween and do some good. And that's kind of what we do with Geekscape. And I'd love to see you all in person. We're all signed up for Comic-Con San Diego. Hopefully it happens. LA Comic-Con, I got notification, got canceled. So that's not happening. It's okay. It was going to be in December, and that would have been a massive COVID party.
Super spreader.
So sorry, Katie, you cannot release your next Contagion at LA Comic-Con. But we do love seeing you in person. But what can you do? Well, maybe you can go to your podcatcher and leave us a 5-star review. We do give you a free podcast every week, and the least you can do is be like, "Hey, Jonathan's not so funny, but I do love Katie. 5 stars." And that's fine. I'm cool with that review. You can post it. We'd love it. Greg, anything you want to add before we let you go back to the spaceship?
I want to thank you and Katie and all the Geekscapists out there. And I want to thank everybody for checking out our Kickstarter, and go Weekly World News. Thank you very, very much for having me on.
100%. Go Weekly World News. And Geekscapists, we will talk to y'all next week.
Thank you.
Over and out.